Welcome to PAB 2011. How's it going? You guys tired? I'm tired. My voice is tired. I took a few notes where we went through a few iterations of what we're going to talk about here, because we decided we're going to give ourselves the time to do the rap, and I took some notes, and it ended up being so douchebaggy it wasn't funny, and so it's like, and then self-doubt set in, and I was on the phone with Mark about a week ago, and it's, Mark, you know what, maybe I just won't talk. It's what the fuck am I? So we started talking about something else, and then I got an idea. And then Mark kept talking, as he does, but I wrote the idea down, and he said something else that triggered something else. So all of a sudden I had this, a mind map kind of starting to happen, and I said, Mark, I gotta hang up. I have an idea where this is gonna go. And
That's not actually what you said to me. You said, Mark, I'm hanging up on you.
Was I that? Oh, at least I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was just strange. Then, after yesterday, I looked back at those notes and I said, well, it's going to seem douchebaggy again because even though we know what the speakers, they submit their pitch for the talks and things like that, I had no idea family was going to be such an important part. And I think that says a lot of, even though we're immersed in technology and we connect online and all the people in this room know each other because of the tubes, the human aspect is what we're trying to cling to and is what we're trying to protect. And I think that, I think there's a lot to learn right there. So I have this great app called Note Taker, and I use my iPad for movies and tunes. That's pretty much it. All right. And I just, some of the interesting things, I'm not going to bore you with all the details and some of my writing I can't read. But my first idea was that how others benefit from your story. We talked a lot about preserving your family story, your interesting stories, the good parts of history and things like that. But others will benefit from your story. So if you're looking for that extra motivation, why am I doing this? Is it, is it masturbation? Is it whatever? Others at some point will benefit from this if you make it and you put it out there. Whether it's art, whether it's a story, whether it's anything. And the thing is, that's really cool about that, is once you do it, you don't get to decide for others how they're going to benefit from your story. So you could talk about anything and with a specific purpose, and a benefit you never thought of will happen for someone. Which brings into the idea of don't decide which stories are worthwhile. You don't get to make that choice. The people listening to your story will decide if they're worthwhile. So if you give yourself the role of not only creator and judge, you will do nothing. So create and publish, like Sue was saying, get it out there, others will benefit. The nice thing about the internet is that everybody's on a level playing field, and if story A or content created whatever A will connect with 10 people in Zimbabwe, well, the B thing where you're talking about hockey goalies will speak to the people in Saskatoon really well, and it's okay, they both don't have to like the other thing. And I think that's something important. We get locked into because of our media channels. We get locked into things like themes. Well, this is a sports channel. This is a yoga channel. And this is whatever. You guys aren't channels. You're tubes. Get your content out there and don't channelize yourself. The channel is invented to sell advertising. You guys aren't advertising. You're people. What is it? So benefit and things like that. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but it was very interesting. I'll give you an example of a benefit. We talked about Derek, who we lost this year. Derek died of colon cancer, which this March, 12 years ago, took my father. And my father was very much a man of his generation, and stiff upper lip and all that, and never really expressed a lot of, just not because he didn't want to, he never had the tool set. He just never knew how to express what it was like to face death and what it was like to have your body betray you this way. And Derek started blogging when he was diagnosed. And it was down to the words, except English versus French, because we live in Quebec, it was the exact same diagnosis as my dad. My dad got diagnosed, they gave him 6 months, he got 8, and that was it. So when I saw Derek's diagnosis, it was like, the lizard brain, right? The old brain. This connected me back to something. Derek and I never met face to face. We'd spoken on Skype and email. And all of a sudden, whatever I hadn't yet dealt with 12 years ago was right there. So Derek's stories about the phases you go through and his openness about the phases you go, like, you know, the cancer blog thing is almost a cliche, and it's horrible that it's become that way, but it's like, what a wonderful thing to have to first of all, because I knew Derek, so I was able to see it through his eyes, but I was able to see what my father went through somebody who's my age. So with my values, my cultural touch points, my things. And so as Derek's disease progressed, I learned more and more about what might happen to my dad. And that, for me, is something that I'll always be grateful to Derek for. And you know, they you know, like Mark speaks like this: the universe will give you what you need. I needed Derek Miller to help me fight my demons I still had about my father's death. Derek never blogged to help Bob Goyetche deal with his father's death. You don't get to decide. Why do you want to concentrate on telling your story well? Finish the story with Derek. Derek was a master storyteller. So you'd read a blog post, it didn't seem like you were reading a recipe. He was actually in the room with you talking. And he had that wonderful human quality to his writing. If you tell your story well, your chances of bringing benefit to others increases. I went to the store, I used a coupon, I saved $2. Okay. Hey, anybody who needs bandages for this kind of thing at this store, here's the place that has a coupon and you'll save $2. All of a sudden, you're being much more helpful than just jacking off and telling somebody you save $2. You're telling somebody who has a need that you might be able to help them with at a better thing. Oh, is there a jack off?
Well, I already had masturbate up there. So.
Oh, okay. The last thing I want to touch on before I ramble too long, because I know I've talked about how others benefit from your story. You will benefit from telling your story. We all have this power that we think that we keep everything in our head and we'll be fine and it'll balance. And you know what? I'm sure, because I know some of you in this room have been there, and if you haven't been there, I'll bet money that you will be there. At some point, you're trying to balance too many things in your head. There are too many left side of the equation, not enough right side of the equation, and your brain is always trying to answer this stuff. You will get answers by working out your story. Even if you do it just for yourself, you will get answers. You will see either why you reacted a certain way, why you thought a certain way, and if you're really lucky, you'll forgive yourself for having acted or having been a certain way. So I encourage you to pick a story, tell it, and think of the benefits. If you need to be altruistic about it, and that's what's going to motivate you to create, think of just the benefit. Don't think of how the benefit's going to happen. Just know that the addition of a story into an online world that is dominated by people jacking off to Apple products can benefit from another human story. That's my spiel. That's my preaching about creating a story. I'm very much about stories. I'm very much about people. And the technology is the tool.
Would that make you authentic?
No. No. Are you trying to get bingo? Is that it? What's on the other row?
What can you help me with here?
Full frontal. John did that. That's his gig. I can't take that. Thanks, but no. So as I talk and I go ba ba ba.
No, ba ba ba. That's from Sweet Caroline.
Oh, Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. Okay, we got that. What's next?
Excuse me a second.
Okay, this is running a bit long here.
You're not getting me into a line, so you have to.
So, I was happy yesterday to be surrounded by friends on the boat cruise and experts who drink wine.
Okay, but don't be too gratuitous about this, right? Because we don't want people to think we're cheating.
We're cheating. Okay, so that's my thing. I hope you will take some of the stories you've heard this weekend and take. We didn't talk too much about method, but hopefully
next year.
Hopefully, the power of the stories you heard will make you think about the methods that were used and why those stories were powerful. And with that, I think we're into the wrap.
We're into the wrap.
Saran wrap.